David, tell us what the quantum doomsdayers are claiming
Oh God.
about Bitcoin.
Claiming, he says. Just for transparency, I slightly jokingly, was attacking Graham. I was attacking you, sir. Last week at Token Narratives, I was saying that you were a coward and that you were not available. You were hiding from Token Narratives because you're so wrong about the threat of quantum. But here you are to defend yourself. So I'm ready for it. But basically, last week there was a bombshell of a research paper released by Google. And in this new white paper from, I guess, Google's quantum research team, they argue that breaking the elliptical curve cryptography, which is the backbone of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most other blockchains, it will, in fact, require 20 times less physical qubits than previously thought. And through some various optimizations that researchers at Google were able to use, they wrote the code. But the results were so potentially damaging, they decided not to release the code that shows the optimizations that they've made. But they did use a ZK proving system from a guest at our live stream, Graham. I don't know if you remember this. Uma Roy, we interviewed at Token 2049 last year. Her company makes a proving system that shows code that proves code that you wrote does what it's supposed to do without revealing what the code is. Very, very cool stuff. Anyway, Google's research team used this crypto product. It's not a crypto product, it's a ZK product, to prove that their code does what it claims to do without revealing the code itself. So that's like kind of maybe a silver lining. But this landed on the timeline, and Nick Carter, he was sitting there throwing this into all the fudders' faces like yourself, saying, I'm right, you're wrong. Look at you, eat some humble pie. And then there was another research paper released the same day. I don't know as much about that as others because I think some of the math and the assumptions apparently are a little harder to parse. They didn't release as much of the research itself to prove. But basically, it was also Dyer saying quantum is coming and the timeline is shorter than we thought. Google said 2029, 2030 is when they think that anyone should have they should be quantum resistant. So I'll stop there.
Okay, that was painful to listen to. It's funny that you think that like this is some kind of slam dunk. Ha! Gotcha. The people who've been saying this is quantum FUD, now they're going to look at this and they're going to be like definitively, oh, I was wrong. Yeah, I find that funny. So yeah, look, we're not on an opinion show right now. We're on the news show, but so this is my opinion, but it's factual. Yeah, no, this is FUD. It's basically
God.
Y2K.
My God.
So people need something to be worried about when the digits, there's not enough digits, so all the computers are going to shut down, and Y2K. And that's what's going to happen here. It's just going to fizzle out. First of all, Bitcoin has plenty of time to upgrade to quantum resistance, and the Bitcoin community should not rush this. And okay, this latest research coming out of Google, it's a math thing, all right? So the math nerds figured out that, oh, you don't need as many physical qubits. But the fact is, you still need a lot of physical qubits. And physical qubits, they're not improving. They're not improving their ability to actually manipulate quantum reality in the physical realm. They're not like doubling the amount of physical qubits every 3.5 years, like some kind of Moore's law. In fact, what's happening is that it's not really progressing. And yeah, the math, according to this, you don't need as many, but it's still very far off. And then one final word is NIST, the agency there in the US that's like, oh, you got to be NIST compliant. Well, Satoshi purposely didn't go with a NIST-recommended protocol because he didn't trust NIST, and neither should we at this stage in Bitcoin. There you go.
Okay, so you know what I just heard? I heard a lot of nerd bullying and hand waving, and meanwhile, the math nerds are they're going out there and doing math proofs and stuff. And you have the likes of Nick Carter, Haseeb Qureshi, friend of the show, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, Mert, Muntaz, all saying, you know what, this is looking pretty. Bitcoiners should take this seriously. Justin Drake out there as well.
Just to interrupt you there for a second, the conjecture that Bitcoin is not taking this seriously is demonstrably false. People in the Bitcoin community, the core developers, commentators, talking heads have been talking about quantum forever, and what they're fully aware of the threat, and they are weighing the risks of implementing a solution to like a quantum computer if one ever were to be developed. But the fact of the matter is you got to be very careful. And classic computers, some of the proposed post-quantum algorithms can be broken by classical computers. So you got to watch out for that as well. And you don't want to rush anything. There's plenty of time. Bitcoin will figure it out.
Okay, well, I mean, the argument that Nick Carter has been making for years, and now others are coming in, like, I mean, you saw Brian Armstrong say, like, you know what, I'm gonna put this kind of at the top of my list. I wrote about this in the newsletter. I devoted how many paragraphs to it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good virtue
6.
signaling there from old Brian. Yeah, we're putting it at the top of our list. See, we're better than dirty Bitcoin core people.
You know what? But there's a bunch of things here. Now, again, it does depend on who you believe in terms of like the Bitcoin community is taking this seriously, because I don't think they are taking it seriously. And that's the whole issue, Graham, is that they aren't. They say they are, but the way they talk about that they're taking it seriously is like ridiculous, right? Like I talked about this with Alex. We posted an X post where people were saying Bitcoin has been taking this seriously for 16 years and screenshotting Satoshi mentioning it once 16 years ago. I mean, that's just like, that's not serious. That's not like taking it seriously. You have all these whataboutisms, including people in the crypto community that are supposedly serious people, to the point where, again, Mumtaz, I don't know his name. Mert was saying, like, what's with the whataboutism in the Bitcoin community? And I was so happy to see this, right? Like all these people saying, you know what? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Bitcoin will be fine, because what about the traditional financial system, or what about the nuclear codes? That has nothing to do with whether Bitcoin will be ready. So if I feel like if there was clear signs that the Bitcoin community at large was taking it seriously, I think everyone would relax more. At least I would. But it just seems like they're not taking it seriously. That's
well, they are, because they are taking it seriously, because you do have people like Nick Carter, Brian Armstrong, the biggest names in crypto are taking it seriously. And those people are representatives of the decentralized community known as Bitcoin. So people are taking it seriously. It's being discussed. We're talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Solutions, the debate is happening. Solutions are being worked on. There are a lot of complicated questions that need to be answered about what do we do with Satoshi's coins or people's coins that haven't moved in a long time. And these questions will be debated and answered, and there will be a post-quantum solution proposed and integrated far before Bitcoin is far before quantum computing actually threatens Bitcoin. So
okay,
the debate is happening.
All right, fine.
All right, I win. Let's wrap that up.
No, that's no. I just I don't want to kick a cripple. You know, you just want to. But I will say, so we got a comment. I asked on X, like, if who's right, Graham or myself, and we got one person who said, "You ready for this, Graham? Both." Can you believe that? Both.
There you go.
God, both are right. Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right. So that was a good discussion. I enjoyed that, David.
Yeah,
we will be covering the quantum threat to Bitcoin. And sorry, we have to bring out this one last thing.
God.
I listened
What?
to this.
What?
I listened to this all in episode as I do. It's kind of my.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of my
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure weekend listening while I'm mowing the lawn type thing. Just listen to these billionaires.
Billionaire
ignorance.
They billionaire. We got to fix this.
So,
he billionaired.
Yeah, so just unsophisticated takes from the likes of
Sounds familiar.
Chamath, Polyapatia. And when I listened to him say like, "Oh, it's a Bitcoin, you guys got to watch it." I'm just like, I just thought like, yeah, okay, whatever. You've been, I don't know, you've been briefed by the CIA or something. Stop to like just FUD Bitcoin. So this is like, this is your little thing, and now you're going to get access to the White House next week or something. That's what I'm going. That's what went through my head.
Wait, what did he say though? What did he say? Was this Chamath?
He was actually quite measured in his criticism, but he said that Bitcoin. He addressed the whataboutism, like, oh, what about TradFi? What about the nuclear codes? And he said, well, actually, he thinks that. For non-state actors, for state actors, the nuclear codes. Okay, that's the target. But for non-state actors, Bitcoin is the premier honeypot that you'd go after. And that does make sense. It doesn't change the fact that quantum computing is, far from existing in reality, despite the, like math advances.
All right, well, I'm going to get one last thing in too, just to get a little... One thing that really annoys me about the Bitcoin community is, I mean, again, it's a double-edged sword. There was a measured post that was totally against all these the Graham group of people, but he was saying, like, again, the fervor and the kind of religiosity of the Bitcoin community is both a strength and a weakness. It's obviously why Bitcoin is what it is today. It's what's made it survive this long and be this kind of pristine asset. So yes, great, awesome. But the other side is just this, like, again, this religious fervor thing. One of the most annoying takes I saw just pollute my timeline was all this, like, dunking on, like, Nick Carter, Justin Drake, anybody who has a financial stake, they would say, in like quantum things or in other communities. They're like, well, you can't believe Justin Drake. He works for the Ethereum Foundation. Of course, this guy is an interloper in the Bitcoin community. So dismiss anything he has to say. And Nick Carter, he invested in a $20 million VC startup that does quantum resistance. Obviously, he's compromised and needs to be, you have to just, I mean, come on, this is the most idiotic way to think about it.
Yeah, well,
it's just annoying
David,
to hear takes like that.
Yeah, no, you're right, but those people are idiots, and there's just lots of noise going around. I do believe that the quantum fudders are sincere in their takes. I don't think that they are like motivated by their companies.